Drake London, Brock Bowers to do nothing. That's it.
Well, with
It's that
Desmond
easy.
Ridder at quarterback, got a good chance at Brock Bowers. But
Except for he caught a 30-yard bomb or whatever in halftime.
yeah, well, when you throw to him 100 times a game, something's bound to happen eventually, right?
Did we miss a game?
Yeah, we didn't do the second Monday night game,
I knew it.
but I didn't want to add it now because I'm pretty sure we would all pick against the Raiders unless anybody would like to pick the Raiders.
Negative.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I don't think any of us thought that was going to be the game that was upset, so.
Yeah, but we will get into that and more because we are live. Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Podcast. As always, I am one of your hosts, Johnny. To my left is Chris. Beneath me is Nick in his beautiful Christmas environment. And
Hey, Chrysler!
we are here to walk you through the mini matchups, the mini fantasy fumbles of the playoff season, and we will get into that right after our intro. Alrighty, like I said, one more time, I am your host, Johnny. To my left is Chris. Beneath me is Nick. This is the Fantasy Football, or to be fair, Fantasy Football Podcast. And
That's
welcome back every Monday at 10, except for Mondays that the Bengals play, in which we like to watch so we can have mild heart attacks for 4 hours. But
It doesn't matter
it paid
this
off.
year.
Yeah. We'll say the path has gotten closer. We won the game. The Colts lost. The Dolphins lost.
Yes, but this now means that,
Broncos got to lose out.
yeah,
Or
which
the
is
Chargers have to lose out.
theoretically possible. I mean,
They have hard matchups.
They do.
Broncos
You
got
gotta figure-
Chargers, Chiefs, and Bengals.
I'll say the Chargers and the Chiefs. We'll see.
We're gonna have to cheer for the Chiefs.
The problem is, as it stands, the Chiefs may very well. They're probably going to be without Mahomes for a couple weeks. I'd imagine at least one, bare minimum. If they continue to win, I think as of right now, they are 2 games up over the Bills. So the problem is, there's a very good chance that when they play Denver the last week of the season, if they're up 2 games, they will sit starters.
I also wholeheartedly believe the Chiefs would also just lose to Denver on purpose to keep the Bengals out of the playoffs because they know that Joe Burrow is the only quarterback that's beaten them. Like, I don't put that out of the realm of possibility.
I don't know. Ultimately, I'm just saying, there's people out there that genuinely think that this is some, like, we can do it. Like, you guys are, it's over. Like, the ship has sailed.
Hey, it's
not
ain't
over
over
till it's
It
over.
ain't over
It
till the
is.
fat lady
It's done.
sings.
Fat lady has not sang yet.
Listen, I agree. I think the Bengals could win out. I think theoretically Denver could lose out. It will not happen. There will be a flaw in the plan.
I honestly think the most likely scenario of us not making it is us just losing one of the games.
Yeah.
I think losing to the Steelers is like incredibly easy at this rate.
We already did it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was done, and you give it 44.
Yeah, so I have no reason to believe that we can go in there and stomp them because Joe's right. It was embarrassing. They should have beaten Titans by 100, so.
10 turnovers in a game.
Beautiful.
There were 267 yards worth in just penalties. That's crazy.
That's a good game.
I
like a
mean,
GTA
at
game
least
out there.
they're the the Bengals are like the second least penalized offense, so we'll give them a break then. But something bad was a brewing Sunday. 2 backup offensive linemen, that'll tend to happen, but we got the win. That's all that matters. Getting into what we always get into, the first part of this podcast, we have the current updated standings. We had 2 great weeks, and I had an okay/good week. Nick is still in first place. He went 13-2 this week. Let me repeat that: 13-2. to put him at
ball.
104 and 45.
Which 2 games did you miss?
He I
Just curious.
just did this. Hold on, it'll come to me.
I was curious if you took like if you were
Oh, he picked
picking with your heart reaching, or if it was like a genuine
he picked
call.
whoever played against the Rams, so the 49ers. He picked them to win. And then I can't remember the other one. It'll come to me. Chris went
I like that.
12 and 3 to put him at 149, and I had a modest 9-6 week to put me at 89 and 60. That 4 and 8 week might be the nail in the coffin there. But it's all right. We will push on. Moving on to matchups. A very important matchup for the Bengals fans out there. Broncos at Chargers. This will determine who we root for to lose the rest of the season. Do we have any injuries here?
Nothing major. Latin McConkey came back. You're still without J.K. Dobbins, so it's still kind of a hodgepodge in the backfield. It's going to be mainly Gus Bus, but other than that, it doesn't really matter on that side of the ball. Will Dissly missed this week, so that was somewhat of a receiving option. He was relatively okay for the tight end, but not fantastic. And then on the flip side, I think for the most part, Denver's relatively healthy on the offensive side. I think you're playing the guys you knew you were going to play, and
Sutton
check out.
Sutton gave me a scare this week. He really did. I mean, he was like 2. He caught 2 of his 8 targets the first 3 quarters, and then he finally got on the board with a touchdown. And I was worrying because it's playoff week, and I'd say most people's leagues. And the one league, the one league I am in playoffs in, sleeper, I have Sutton, and Zach had Devonta Smith and freaking, who was the other one? Someone else put up season highs on me, so that was fun. Oh, Amon-Ra.
Amon-Ra almost did.
Yeah, he was 1 off his season high. So Mike Evans came in clutch as my savior with 37 points. So that's good. But Cortland Sutton came through at the end, got a touchdown, came out with a modest 12 points. It's not the end of the world. All that said, because I know that the Bengals will make it all the way and then disappoint me, I'm going to take the Chargers.
Me too.
Yeah, I think I'll take the Chargers. I think they're a better team.
Taking the Chargers.
All right, moving on to Houston at Kansas City. Houston whooped up on Miami. Oh, this is
Kind of an
Saturday.
ugly game.
I have an exclamation points. We have 2 Saturday games this week. How exciting! One at 1
You
o'clock.
have a weird. So this is something to be mindful about. You have a weird stretch of games here, where Houston, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, and some 4th team. I don't remember who it is. They basically play the other 3 teams involved, and they play 3 games in 10 days. So pretty wild.
Yeah,
you have a Saturday game, then a Sunday game, and then the Thursday night or something weird like that.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Nico Collins came back to life with 2 touchdowns, better than ever. CJ Stroud still is kind of in a sophomore slump, but
Yeah, it's still not great.
it's all right. Trying to think of what Kansas City did last week. I honestly could not tell you.
They beat Cleveland.
Oh,
It was it
they
was kind of what you expected.
benched my
Mahomes
boy Jameis.
didn't do anything. Yeah, but Mahomes didn't do anything special. Threw a couple touchdowns. That was really about it. Now that being said, had a pretty weird hit. Did you guys see the injury that he took?
No.
He got tackled by his ankles and then got hit on his shoulders, and it kind of folded him sideways. Weird. I guess they're calling it a high ankle sprain. So
They taped both of his ankles and sent him back.
yeah. So
I saw a tweet
Together?
today. No, I saw a tweet today that said this is Patrick Mahomes' annual winter ankle injury, so he can come back next week and play perfectly fine without a limp and be called
blow people's minds.
be Michael Jordan flu game. It's
So I don't know. They're calling it week to week. This is the exact a high ankle sprain. It's the same story every time. Day of, you hurt your ankle in the game, and you try to play through it. It hurts. Maybe you can, maybe you can't, whatever. You go to bed, you wake up the next morning, and then that's when it's worse. And then you really have an idea of the
Throbbing.
significance of it. Yeah, then that's when you know the significance. So, point being, you're not going to really know. They're calling it week to week. Mahomes has done this. He did it the entirety of the Super Bowl run. Was it 2 years ago? Or was it last year?
I think it was 2 years
When did
ago.
when they played the Eagles? So,
Yeah,
it was the identical situation where it was like, he's going to be out and miss the whole playoffs. And then every week it was like he was scrambling, rushing for like 70 yards. People were like, how's he doing this? It's like
Yeah.
steroids. That's probably
Yeah.
how. I don't, there's no other explanation. Like, it doesn't exist. So he'll play probably to lock up seeding.
Give me
I don't know.
Houston.
I'll take Houston.
I want Houston. I'm taking the Chiefs still.
I believe Houston will have a good game. Moving on to the second Saturday game, Pittsburgh at Baltimore. If you have not been watching AFC North Hard Knocks, highly recommend if you are an AFC North fan or if you're just a football fan. It's nice to see. I don't think it's as degrading as Bengal fans are making it out to be. I think it's fine. Everybody's making a big deal like, look how bored Joe and Jamar look in the meetings. You can literally look at any other teams and they all look the exact same. It's like, dude, they're in a football meeting. Myles Garrett was on Facebook Messenger or whatever during his meeting. So it's like, it's a meeting.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, when you were in class, you weren't paying attention either. It's just
Yeah.
like it's the same thing.
Um,
So whatever.
but
That being said, like Johnny mentioned, it's just fun to watch, getting the background information. It gives you a real insight to players, and frankly, like, you get a good idea of, like, it really shows, I think, good organizations versus bad organizations.
I
You
don't
get a
think
really
we're
good
at the
sense.
bottom of that.
No, I'm not saying we're at the bottom, but like, for instance, the beginning of the season, you saw the Hard Knocks follow the Giants before the season.
Yeah.
And like it was basically the buildup of free agency where you lost McKinney on the defensive side, you lost Barkley, you signed Brian Burns. And then the process of the draft where it was the whole, like, who do they take? And they ended up picking Malik Neighbors. Point being is the background of, like, watching the contract. You didn't, like, see the negotiations, but you see, like, the GMs, the presidents, the player personnel people, scouts, all those people kind of like meeting, talking, and it was just hilarious. I thought, watching the Giants like consistently
away.
go to the same character and go, I think it's a bad idea to let Barkley leave. And he was like, no, we have to find out what Daniel's got. It's like, dude, I think we know.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think we have to find out.
yeah, that's a bad idea.
But that's
but
what I mean. It's fun to watch.
depending on how long the Hard Knocks goes, we'll get to see the Bengals sign Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So it'll be great.
Oh, don't. For those who don't know what we're talking about.
He dropped his agent, who refuses to negotiate with the Bengals, David Archuleta or whatever his name is. He signed with Jamar Chase's agent. Joe specifically came out and said, well, I'm confident we do whatever it takes. Jamar said he'd pay him out of his own pocket. Joe has been pretty vocal the last couple weeks about being disappointed in the organization, and he's been crapping on Zach Taylor for being like, good win, here's a game ball, after being 6-8. Like, cool, we won, but we're 6-8. That's embarrassing. So I think I have sneaky suspicion that they're going to shell out the money. Now, you might lose Trey Hendrickson because other defensive ends are making $15 million more a year than he is, and that's ridiculous.
Well,
but
and his is like the weirdest, like, perfect storm where it's like he's playing the best football of his life, and he's technically past his prime, like,
Yeah.
age-wise. So it's like a weird, like, he deserves the money, like, he should get it, but like paying him, unless you're like a low-level organization that like needs a defensive veteran to kind of build up the young guys, it doesn't make sense. And in this particular instance, you're looking at the Bengals have the sack leader in the NFL, and it translates to nothing because of how bad they are. So it's like, at this point, you might as well, unfortunately, let him walk, cut him, and save the money. but who knows what they'll do.
You just can't look at.
This is all fun to talk about. The Bengals are notorious for not paying money.
Hey,
You watched AJ Green walk. You watched all these big-time players work through their first contract, and then when it was time, push come to shove, we tagged them. They'd get frustrated, just like the T. Higgins situation. They'd play through it, and then after that, we'd go either you play on the tag again, or buy. And
but I do
it was
remember a certain 2014 season maybe where they came out in the offseason and double signed Geno Atkins and Carlos Dunlap to like 4-year extensions, and those were huge deals.
the problem is they have weird stints. You saw the Super Bowl run, that Jamar's rookie year. That was the year they went out and signed like Trey Hendrickson. You went out and you signed Von Bell. You went out and you signed Eli Apple. You went out and you
Mike
signed
Hilton.
Chidobe Awuzie, Mike Hilton. Like maybe that was the year you also went out and you like signed Ted Karras. You signed Volson on the offensive line. Now, granted, it didn't translate because that side of the ball, you still let up 1 million sacks. But
Yeah, but
ultimately,
even
my point is you spent the money.
even this offseason though, they got Trent Brown, they got Sheldon Rankins, they got Orlando Brown last year.
You
So
drafted Amarius Mims.
which he has not allowed a sack against Watt, Parsons, or Garrett. So good draft pick finally. Thank God Duke Tobin finally paid off. So all that to say, who knows what happens? It could turn out
Yep.
well. We have an AFC North raw dogging battle on Saturday, and I am going
Smash
to
mouth
take
AFC football.
against my better
Ravens.
judgment the Ravens.
Same. I'm taking the Ravens.
I think the first time that the Pittsburgh won, it was a fluke. That
Wait,
was kind
you
of
take
a
Ravens?
yeah. I'm taking the
didn't
Ravens.
hear
It was a weird game where I think the weather wasn't that great. The Ravens had like the most penalties they had that game all season.
Without Pickens,
Just kind
their
of-
offense is atrocious too. So
Yeah, I and I said it before. Even with Pickens, I think they're frauds. I just think that they had a cakewalk in the beginning of the season, and then teams that we thought were supposed to be good, like the Bengals, are not. So
yeah. Moving on to Sunday, we have a 1:00 slate. We got the Giants against the Falcons. Do we have a game update for the Falcons right now?
yes, it is 12-3. Falcons are winning.
What a boring game.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty boring,
Oh.
but that's exactly what I need because for those who are keeping up, I am 9 points ahead of my fantasy league. That
Mm,
being said, I am done, and I'm going against Bijan,
it's not looking good.
Drake London, and Brock Bowers. So we
Uh-oh.
are hanging on for dear life.
We have another fantasy update. We have a 1-yard rushing touchdown by Aaron Jones.
So
if anybody's got
that
him.
being said, yeah, not an exciting game, that's for sure. There's also a second game, like Johnny said, Chicago and Minnesota. But that's
for the 1:00
probably
slot,
just
I'm taking
boring.
the Falcons.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
so
me
as
too.
well. Giants buns.
Yep. Kirk Cousins has been atrocious though.
That's probably Shadir Sanders. That's the destination. What it's looking like.
What they signed? Oh, the Giants. You talking about? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, they're gonna get that early pick. They're gonna buy a quarterback, and that's probably who they're gonna take. So
Poor
unless
guy.
something changes, then they'll get the first pick.
Moving on to Arizona at Carolina. Carolina still playing some good football. Dallas.
Yeah, we were wrong this week.
Yeah.
That was one I wanted to take Carolina so bad,
Dallas
and I'm doubling down and taking them again.
put a dagger in Nick's heart by CeeDee Lamb having 100 yards in the first half, and Nick left him on his bench in playoffs. Nick, how does that make you feel?
It wouldn't have mattered.
Who did you start over him, Nick?
Jawan Jennings.
Who else did you
Okay,
start over
okay.
him?
But also, the start over is
And
you
Cooper
started
Kupp.
Tyreek Hill and Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
It's not like they were bums.
Gosh,
It
Cooper
was just a
Kupp.
stacked wide receiver room, and you're sitting one guy. Jawan Jennings is bald, especially without those guys.
All three of
on
us,
those two.
all three of our guts said sit CD out of the group, and we were all painfully wrong.
But again,
But
the
that
logic
there's-
wasn't. The logic wasn't. He had 9 targets.
Yeah,
That's
it,
good.
It just
He had like 6 drops.
just
He had
didn't
46
trans-
points the last time they played the Rams.
He literally had 6 drops. Me and
Uh,
Nick were talking about it when the game was happening, and it was like he would go across the middle, he would put his hands up, and then it was like he saw the ooh.
And then on the other side of the ball, Matt Stafford just refuses to target
Get that-
Cooper Cup.
Cooper Cup, yeah.
Towel.
It is the Puka Nakua show, and
he-
I don't understand what's happened.
Sean
I mean, he's good. don't get me
Sean
wrong,
McVay needs to get Cooper Cup in motion, needs to get him on a wheel route, needs to do something. Because all he's doing are these little freaking 4-yard sit-down routes in the middle of the field. And Matthew Stafford, when he's throwing it to him, it's either behind or it's a hospital ball. So Cooper Cup, is the only time he's scoring, he's getting lucky. It's not like while Puka Nakua is getting these immaculate over-the-shoulder to the sideline passes.
Yeah, it doesn't help either. Like, so Puka is definitely more of a contorting body to make the catch, kind of like over Cooper Cup. But it doesn't help that like they're not scheming for Cooper Cup. Like you'll watch Matt Stafford call hike and immediately dump the ball off on a screen. They'll call hike and they'll have Puka run a jet sweep. Like it's just this like consistent. We're going to get him involved, and it's like Cooper Cup is like the number 2, maybe third read
We're
every
not even on
time.
the Rams game. We're talking about the Rams.
Sorry.
We got distracted because we
Venting
sat seemingly-
frustrations.
Yeah. I'm taking Carolina.
You guys,
Thank
are
you.
crazy. Give me Arizona.
No, I'm
Carolina's got to be 2.
Did you guys see Adam Thielen almost lobotomize Leggett on the sideline with his helmet? He went to the sideline and he was raging and tried to like slam it on the helmet holder and he missed and it bounced and like went this close to just drilling Leggett on the side of the head. And I was like, oh, he would have been dead. Yeah, I was surprised how mad he was. I'm like, I guess that's a good sign because you still are passionate about it. He's got a year left on
clearly
his
you
deal.
care.
So, moving on to Detroit at Chicago. I'm taking Detroit.
Give me Detroit.
That's
That's easy.
Detroit.
That's an
But-
easy one.
Dun dun dun. David Montgomery after the season.
Too little, too late.
Yeah.
Have Jameer
He-
Gibbs.
Yeah. So that's a sucky one.
Yep.
Real bummer. But
They lost
dude,
Montgomery
the
and their
poor
all-star
Lions,
DT.
they are just riddled with injuries.
Yep.
They're cursed.
Do we have an update on the Bears game?
But we can get one.
Bears Vikings right
Pause.
now.
Pause. Calculating. Pacific. Okay. Vikings are up 20-3.
By the way,
It is not close. Aaron Jones is scoring goals.
can you repeat that one more time? The internet went buku.
Yes. It is 20-3. Vikings are winning.
Um,
Aaron Jones scored. Justin Jefferson scored. And then the rest is field goals.
For reference, Nick and I took the Vikings. Chris, you took the Bears. So,
Yeah, it's not working out.
no. Moving on to Tennessee at Indianapolis. Tennessee, I know Tony Pollard has been in and out with some injury. He was all over the place Sunday against the Bengals. So, do we have any update on him?
He played, but I mean, obviously, he played halfway through the first quarter. Got the notification that he was questionable to return. Came back again, but Tajay Spears was like the dude. Had him on my fantasy bench. Now, granted, I never would have played him, but
Yeah, that's
20
definitely-
points, 2 touchdowns. He had like 70 receiving yards or something stupid like that.
Again, because I need to believe, I'm going to take Tennessee here because I think the Bengals are going to disappoint me at the end, not right now. So I'm going to take Tennessee.
Who are they playing?
They're playing the Colts.
Indianapolis.
There's no way.
We're gonna.
It's the Colts.
Yeah, I'm taking the Colts.
I'm telling you, we're gonna get down to the wire, and then the Bengals are gonna disappoint you and not
Choke
make it
it
in.
away.
Yeah. All right. Moving. Oh, Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce got hurt. I don't know what it was, but I saw it on my Dynasty notification. Most people aren't playing Alec Pierce, but every once in a while I get a little ballsy and I put him in, and it pays off. But that was mostly during the Joe Flacco experiment. So probably not working.
Yeah, the passing game with them. Michael Pittman's like still he's the one. Like I said, he was earlier in the year, but that one is translating to like 9 fantasy points.
Yeah,
It's like 4 catches for 50 yards, and
if
like
you
they're hoping he
needed-
scores a touchdown.
If you needed a Jonathan Taylor touchdown, sorry, he dropped the ball at the freaking goal
1
line.
yard.
So rip if that cost you your season. Yeah, that would suck. Moving on to Rams at Jets.
Rams. Jets look horrible
Devontae
right now.
Adams had a great day.
Yeah. You know what? You want to know the worst part about this? He went to halftime with 0 points.
Oh yeah, I know.
Finished with like 9 catches, 198 yards, and 2
Oh, no.
touchdowns or something stupid. Dude, the week I play him in fantasy for the for the playoffs.
and the
Give me a
fact
break.
that he played him. He hasn't played him in forever. I mean, I know they're
Dude,
playing the Jags, so it's like
Yeah, I mean, I
the
understand the
Jets.
logic of playing him. Dude,
I'm
no
taking the
way.
Jets.
No
who are they playing?
way.
I just said it.
Rams.
That Rams game, I'm chalking that bad offense up to the fact that it was a torrential
He
downpour
knows.
the entire game.
Yeah,
He
I'm
knows.
taking the Jets.
He knows.
I was gonna.
I'll
I'm,
take the
I'm,
free-
I'm
I'll
not
take the
even
free
kidding.
game.
I'm not even kidding, Nick. I was thinking about it when I was making the list, and I was like, they're gonna call me crazy. And then you took the Jets, so I'm like, now we have momentum.
See?
But listen, I'm not saying he's great, but he's not as bad as the Jets' record would say he is. These are Aaron Rodgers' numbers on the year. He's got 3,255 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. I would have, if you would have told me to guess the numbers, they would have been way worse than that. It's based off of how
Yeah,
the
it's-
Jets season has gone.
The bad thing about the Jets genuinely has been they have lost a lot of close games in the mid-20s like the last week was. Now granted they won this week, but they've all been the same like 28-25 and they like are winning and then they kind of blow it because the defense gives away a bunch of yards in the last drive and they lose on a field goal or
Gosh,
something.
if you put Baker Mayfield on that freaking offense, they're putting 45 points up a week.
Yeah, they might.
I mean,
They might.
with Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson, there's no excuse. There's just...
We'll see what happens. This offseason will be interesting because Garrett Wilson is stuck there. He's still in his rookie contract. He ain't going nowhere. Doesn't matter what he wants to do. He'll be there. Devontae Adams, I don't know what they're gonna do because the Rodgers is
Waiting for it.
he's I don't know. He says he's not leaving. Everything else would suggest that he is already all but done in New York. That's a winner.
I thought it looked like a SpongeBob cloud.
So ultimately, my point is that offense will be way different. Brees Hall has had a down year, but if you put in a quarterback that either is not very competent and is willing to check down more, that elevates him, or you eliminate Devontae Adams and it's just the Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall show, probably going to get more touches, probably elevates him. So he may be better next year offensively overall. They may be a worse team. Who knows?
Guess
We'll
we'll
figure it out later.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We're moving on to Philadelphia at Washington. I'm taking Washington.
Oh.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm taking Philly.
I hate Philly. I'm taking Washington out of spite.
Wait, why don't you like Philly? What about him?
Well,
Coach.
I really hate Nick Sirianni. I just
Okay, that's fair.
bottom
fair.
five coaching talent in the NFL. With that roster, it's mind-boggling the decision he makes. I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's Jalen Hurts.
It makes me so
I-
mad every time they get to the 1 yard line and he has Saquon Barkley. And I just there was a period they got to the 1 yard line. There was one series got to the 1 yard line, first and goal. 3 times they got stopped.
I
Didn't give the
know.
ball one time to Saquon Barkley.
I'm
Like, dude, please.
and Jalen Hurts got to the press conference this week and he's like, "That what y'all waiting for?" Because people are dogging on him for not passing a lot, and it's like, yeah, idiot, you're a quarterback. That's what we're waiting for. You signed freaking AJ Brown to a 4-year deal, and he's not getting double-digit targets a week. That's what we're waiting for. Like, look what happens when you throw him the ball every third attempt. He goes off. Like, what are we doing? Like,
Yeah.
It's a lose-lose,
doesn't
and
make
there-
any sense.
I will say, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because when you have the league leader in rushing,
It's gonna be hard.
it's hard. There's too many mouths to feed. So like I understand there's an element where like you're gonna feeding the hot hand. Some weeks it's gonna be AJ Brown. Some weeks it's gonna be Jalen Hurts rushing. Some weeks it's gonna be Saquon Barkley. Like I get it, but to your point, it is really frustrating. Like it's not been the experience that you thought it was going to be, especially bringing in the offensive coordinator That was in Dallas when CeeDee Lamb had a breakout. That was in LA when Keenan Allen had his career year last year. And then now is in here. You would have looked at this and thought they're going to put up 50 points a week.
I think it's just really annoying because if you look at Peyton Manning in like 2013, he had a great rushing game, which let him do his thing, which was a play action into a boot so he could launch it downfield to Demaryius Thomas every single time he wanted to. But Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts are freaking hell-bent on RPO 99% of the time, which I understand that's more and more prevalent because of how these players are coming out of college. But if you play action off of freaking Saquon Barkley, I'm telling you, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown would be open 99% of the time. Like, it's as old as the game is football. Like, it doesn't get any easier than that, and they just refuse to do it. And then Jalen Hurts keeps a million times, and then it's like, this is hard to watch. It's like, it's frustrating. That's why I don't like the Eagles.
Yeah, fair enough.
But anyways, moving on to Minnesota at Seattle. I would like to take Seattle, but I can't take Seattle.
No.
I'm
This is
taking Minnesota.
I'm going to take Seattle. I was thinking that the whole time.
Dude, Minnesota I keep capping on, and they just keep winning. I keep thinking, like, they're bound to lose one. I don't think, like, they're good, but I don't think they're great. They just keep winning.
I think I think their crap out's just going to happen. I've thought their crap out's going to happen sooner, but I think it's just going to happen in the first round of the playoffs. So
Maybe it will, yeah. Sam Darnold's got to dookie the bed at some point.
Hey, don't talk about my glorious king like that.
I mean, there's a reason they're not keeping him around. All right. There's a reason.
They see the writing on the wall.
Yeah. Kenneth Walker's still out. Gosh, he's played 4 games this year, it seems like.
Yeah, stupid
Yeah.
Zach Charbonnet.
Oh, I know.
He was horrible all game, minus one rush. That was like a 35-yard touchdown. Dude, give me a break.
I'm checking in on my fantasy. Brock Bowers says 6.5. Drake London is still at 12.8. I'm now projected to win 99% to 1%. I should be moving on to the next round of the playoffs against Matt.
He won this week, even with Cooper Kupp putting up a dub.
Matt, he was on a
And
first round
Bye.
bye.
Oh, yeah.
So
That one, too.
I have beat Matt already in Dynasty, so odds are saying I'll probably lose.
I beat Matt in Dynasty.
Yeah.
So,
But moving on, San Francisco at Miami, Battle of the Bums. Deebo Samuel looks horrific. San Francisco can't keep a running back alive. George Kittle
I'm
is
still
the
taking
only.
San Francisco. This is the. I'm gonna say it again. This week's game was a crapshoot with the rain. I'm gonna chalk it up to bad.
I'm going to take
I think
Miami.
Juwan Jennings bounces back. I think Debo. Wow, I don't know what he does, but he's been pretty worthless. But I think George Kittle gets back involved. I think the running game is fine, and I think for the sake of the Bengals needing things to happen, this is the one.
Yeah, I'm
So-
taking San Francisco as well.
I'm only taking Miami because Mike McDaniels can only beat teams that are under 500, and this is a team that's under 500 right now. And Jalen Waddle's probably going to be out with an injury, so maybe they'll force feed it to Jonnu Smith and Tyreek Hill.
No, it'll be Devon Achane.
Or him. I'll take that. I'll need that in Dynasty next week. Moving
I'm
on.
pretty fired
I
this
mean,
one.
New
Bills
England at
for me.
Buffalo. Is anybody taking New England here?
Give me the Bills.
The
Yep.
Bills' offense all of a sudden is
Have
unstoppable.
Have you seen Josh Allen's stats after he put a ring on it? Through 3 games, he's got what was it? It was 6
Oh.
passing, 6 rushing, and 1 receiving touchdown in 3 games,
Jeez.
which is insane.
I will say, Josh Allen's starting to get on my nerves a little bit. He's got
Dude, I like Josh Allen.
He's got to chill with the flopping.
Okay, that fair.
It's
I can
getting
get
getting bad. He went into a late slide and got nicked by a Detroit player, and he just slammed his head back. It's like, dude, he has a highlight reel of flopping. Like he's in LeBron territory.
Yeah,
it's like
getting bad.
other than that, I like Josh Allen, but it's like
He's
reel
fun
it
to
in,
watch.
Reel it in.
Yeah.
You would never, if I saw you would never see Joe Burrow flop like that. That would be like that. You're just so out of character. But
I
it
did
is
see
what it
for the
is.
first time. I did see not for the first time, but for one of the few times Joe Burrow this week turn around to the ref, throw his hands up, and kind of yell at him in a moment where he thought he got hit.
You see it a lot more in person than you do on broadcasts. I noticed over the couple games I went to this year, a couple games I went to last year. He does it a lot more in person, but I think broadcast just never catches him. Probably because the NFL knows that they're not giving him the calls, so they're like, "Hey, let's not catch this," because it just makes them look terrible. But that face mask
we'll
call,
see.
they had a meeting about, and they didn't even find the guy. They still said we couldn't prove that he grabbed the face mask. What do you mean? What does that mean?
Well, but the crazy thing is they said they couldn't prove it, and they were like, "Oh, but by the way, next year we're thinking about adding a replay for that penalty." It's like,
So
okay, so it was like you wouldn't say that if that wasn't the case.
yeah, and the only reason he turned around and yelled at the ref this last time is because he got smacked in the head again. It's like no other quarterback is getting hit to the head this many times.
No.
Ridiculous.
But it is what it is. Moving on to Jacksonville at Las Vegas. This may be the worst game of the year. This is atrocious.
Dude, Daddy Mac's going to take care of business. Give me Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'd say probably Jacksonville because
Blazing.
no, dude, Brian Thomas Jr. looks good. Let's just
Johnny. I know you want to take Brock Bowers.
That's really the only thing I'm considering.
I know. I know
like,
how you think.
It's like, can Jacksonville?
how many points? How
It's
many points can Brock Bowers score?
like, can Jacksonville stop that? Like, what was it a couple weeks ago? Jacksonville beat. Oh, it was the Titans. It was like surely the Titans can beat Jacksonville, and the Jacksonville Jaguars won like 9-3 or something stupid. I'm gonna take the Raiders.
All right.
What a boring game that's gonna be,
Yep.
man.
That's gonna be terrible. Moving on to Bucks at Cowboys. Give me the Bucks.
WNBA game over that.
I wouldn't go that far.
Caitlin Clark's playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bucks also.
Give me the Bucks. Give me the
I
Bucks.
was gonna say, I think the Cowboys' struggles will just resume this week. They played a team they should have contended with this week. I think the Buccaneers' offense is gonna poop on their face. So, I don't think there's any new injuries there.
Defensively, though, Dallas is better. Their team better. They've put some good weeks together. They have Michael Parsons back.
But they just
there.
lost Diggs
Well, yeah, but
out for season.
Washed.
He
Washed.
might actually be he might actually be washed. I
I'm
don't know.
telling you, defensive corners. You have like a couple good seasons, and then it's a hard fall
One
off.
could
There is
argue-
never a transition.
One could argue that he was never. He got what, like 7 or 8 picks that one season, but he allowed the most
Yeah.
touchdowns.
Nick and I talked about this when we were at work about if he was elite or if he was a bum.
I would say
And
no, he's not.
I don't
elite.
remember which one we were, but
I
it's
was,
hard. It was
I
a
thought he
weird
was
season.
elite, and I convinced you that he was. It was because
Yeah, but
we're arguing because you thought Jalen Ramsey was better, and I thought, just based on that year, Jalen Ramsey was better or Trayvon Diggs. And I got you to admit that you gave up.
the stats that year, it was weird.
It's hard to
It's a
deny
weird
8 picks, but at the same time, it's also hard to deny giving up the most touchdowns because you're jumping every route. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. All that being said,
my reward.
we all took the Bucks. Yep.
Yeah, the Bucks.
Moving on
That's
to
not
the
gonna be close.
final game of the slate, we have the Saints at the Packers. I'm taking the Packers.
Packers.
Me,
Yeah.
Packers all the way.
Woohoo!
We have an injury update on Alvin Kamara, don't we?
It's questionable. I
What?
mean, it's not an official ruling as far as if he's going to be out or not. Now, granted, I don't know if they're still in contention.
Just to say, what's the Saints record right now? Saints
Are they still in the playoff hunt? Because if they're not, they'll just shut it down.
As you say, they should consider shutting Alvin Kamara down. The Saints are 5-9.
Yeah, but the NFC in the hunt thing is like crazy.
It'd be
NFC
3-11 or whatever.
playoff.
Dude, it's kind of
picture.
insane. There are some like low teams that are like still technically in the hunt. It's because there's like 3 teams that are like 11-2 over there, and then everybody else is like 500.
They are saying that the Saints are the last spot in the hunt. They're the 13th team.
They're gonna probably lose this week to the Packers.
So
And that'll eliminate you.
they
So
lose,
there
they shut
probably
them
is a
down.
good chance, I'd imagine, they just shut them down. The other thing to note here, not that you guys have cared, but there's been this background. Kendra Miller, he's the backup to Alvin Kamara. So I guess Dennis Allen, when he was the head coach to start the season, Dennis Allen just I guess hated him. To the point where he put him on IR and he wasn't hurt.
Oh, that's always good.
Like there was like a big ordeal where he came out and was kind of like he got asked about what happened and he was like, I don't know, they told me I'm on IR. Like he didn't know anything about it. Like he wasn't hurt. So they just weren't playing him. And so ultimately my point is this might be something where they're going to find out what they have with Ken J. Miller too, because they drafted him in the second round 2 or 3 years ago. And then Alvin Kamara is going to play. Don't get me wrong, but you draft a guy that early with the intent of playing them at some point.
Yep.
You don't waste a draft pick in the second round or the third round specifically to let a guy be a backup for all of eternity. So this may be something where they shut him down, see what you got. So far, he's looked relatively okay. I mean, he scored a couple weeks ago. This week, when in his limited work, he looked okay.
Yeah, I was just saying they should just start.
But
They should just start testing everybody now. See what happens.
yeah, you're basically playing halves for the quarterbacks right now. They're just starting one guy and then getting to halftime and realizing, yeah, you suck.
I mean,
let's try the other
their
one.
backups are
Just as
atrocious.
bad.
All right, that wraps up the matchups for next week. We'll give you one
Update on the Falcons Raiders
There
game.
it is.
Falcons just kicked another field goal. It's 15-3.
Okay.
Fourth quarter, 13 and a half minutes left.
All right. We will give you one more update on the Bears and the Falcons. Well, Bears, Vikings, Falcons,
Bears,
Raiders
Vikings.
game after the one, the only segment of the night, Nick's Picks, where he lets you know about the players on waivers that are
Owned in less than 50% of leagues.
There we go. Take it away,
Like-
Nick.
All right. That's
Nine
we're stringing together a couple weeks.
All right, starting off, Cooper Cup. Oh, that's wrong. Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush for Dallas Cowboys just had a 24-point game. He looks like kind of competent. Tampa Bay game's going to be high scoring. They're probably going to lose, but it's going to be a high scoring game. Tampa Bay's defense has given up a lot of points to quarterbacks. Second off is kind of yucky. This is a very risky play. Drake May. The Bills have given up a lot of points to quarterbacks, but he had 17-point week last week. Ugh. And they're going to be throwing a lot in this game because they're going to be down basically from the time the coin hits the ground. Running back, Justice Hill, 17-point week. He's getting all of the receiving work. Derrick Henry is falling. He the old man's hitting him.
I don't know if they're
So-
saving him for the for the actual playoffs or what, but they've
Who
kind of
knows?
several weeks in a row not really used him.
Yeah. Devin Singletary, which is kind of a weird name. I feel like people have
Forgot
him,
he existed.
but he doesn't. People don't have him. He's splitting the receiving work, but he's getting a little bit of the goal line. So it might be worth if you need, somebody. I don't know why you
Touchdown
need him
upside
in the
maybe or
playoffs, but
something. Yeah.
Wide receiver, Rashad Bateman, 5 targets last game, 2 touchdowns. Every touchdown he has is a deep ball. He just goes deep and Lamar launches it. So he's a very high risk, high reward. If you want somebody a little safer, Jalen McMillan for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is very sneaky right now. He's had 13 targets and 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games, and he is like filling in Chris Godwin's role. Like Mike Evans is still going to be the guy probably, but Chris Godwin or Jalen McMillan is like sneaky, like 18 to 26 points, like very very playable, especially in the playoffs. And he plays Dallas, who doesn't have a great defense against the wide receivers. On the tight ends, dude, Noah Gray for the Chiefs.
He just won't
What is
die.
going on?
He won't die.
He's like splitting targets with Kelsey.
Old man Kelsey.
He's
It's
getting.
only in the red zone though.
I know. But he's had at least 5 targets in the last 3 games. That's pretty good that's pretty consistent for a tight end. You have to be careful though, just because Mahomes may or may not be out, so you never know. They might go back to, if Mahomes is out, they might just keep Kelsey in, try to keep it less complicated.
You're not going to see Mahomes probably scramble around theoretically.
Yeah.
It's the logic anyway.
Tight end, or the other tight end, Chig Okonkwo for the Tennessee Titans. Coolest name in the NFL. Probably was born in Wakanda.
Jeez.
Maybe that might be,
They
that
were
might be a little racist.
locked in on him Sunday.
Chig Okonkwo had 10 targets.
Just thought.
I don't care what quarterback is playing, because he got like basically 5 and 5. He is just a big body for the mayonnaise eater.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley and
Tennessee.
the Keen Westbrook Hines or whatever his name is, owners. Sorry.
Nick Westbrook-Akine.
Yeah, there it is. That was somewhere in the realm. Sorry, because Big Boy was taking all the targets all day Sunday.
Big
Yeah,
chunky.
Gavin Ridley was pretty quiet too.
Just nothing.
Yeah. That's it, everybody.
That wraps up Nick's picks. And for the last update on the games, somebody take it away.
We can get there. Give me a second.
Oh,
Okay. 27-6.
Yep.
Cam Akers now has a rushing touchdown. The Bears obviously have kicked 2 field goals.
Wow.
So boring.
Yeah, these are 2 bum games. And then what we got, the Falcons, looks like 15-3. Falcons are still.
I'm up by 8 points.
He's holding on.
I'm by the skin of my teeth so far. Here's what's gonna happen. I'll tell you right now.
One
I'm
big
transferring
play.
my powers to you.
I am going. Stop. Last time you said this, Devontae Adams had an incredible second half.
Sorry, it's already done.
They
Can't take it back.
Here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna make it to like 5 minutes, and I'm gonna be up by like 5 points, and then either the Falcons are gonna have the ball, and you're gonna know, hey, we're winning. We're gonna run the clock out, and yet Bijan is still gonna have these make a chunk rush plays somehow. I'll lose, or Brock Bowers has really done nothing this whole game.
They start playing off.
They'll get the ball and run 2-minute offense, and then magically Brock Bowers will have 4 catches on the drive for like 60 yards, and I'll lose.
I think that's probably the more likely scenario because I'm guessing Brock Bowers ends with 15 points in this game. He's at.
Oh, hey, Bijan Robinson, 29-yard rush.
Oh, cool. And here goes the fall.
There was my power.
Stop.
Catching up.
Alrighty, everybody. That wraps up this week's show. Keep an eye on the schedule for next week. Next week is Christmas. We have not discussed the schedule for next week, but we will, and we'll get back to you. So, thank you so much for joining us. It has been a pleasure, as always. Please check us out on our socials. We're on Instagram, X, YouTube, the TikTok, as long as it's around. Seeing mixed reports now. It might stay around. I don't know. We'll see what Donnie J pulls out of his pants here. But we will see how long we can keep posting on the TikTok. We love you. We thank you. And it's been a pleasure. Goodbye.
Peace.